All right. I apologize for not being in class today. We had a meeting. I had to go over and deal with a leadership meeting with some other teachers on campus. So no big deal. We're still going to get some work done today. It won't be that long of an Edpuzzle, but I want you guys to write this down for extra credit. You can post a pic of this for extra credit. These are going to be your notes. And basically what we're doing today is the last part of exponent rules. We've done a lot of exponent rules over and over and over again, but today the rules are going to be basically one or two different rules are going to be in the same problem, and there's going to be multiple bases. So again, let's just talk about what a base is. Your base is the big number, right? This is your base, right? And this is your exponent. And what you're going to see today is there's going to be multiple bases. There's going to be different bases in the same problem. A base could be a number like this, or it could be like that, right? So we're going to be dealing with both types of these, all right? So your first problem I want you to look at here is looking at something like this. A to the third times b to the fourth times a to the sixth times b to the second equals. Now, if you're looking at this problem, you might be like, okay, this looks a little different. But to be honest, it is not that much different than what you've already done. Sorry, I'm trying to get another color here. And when you look at this problem, you understand that you only can do stuff with the same bases. Rules only apply. All these rules we've learned to same bases. The rules only apply to same bases, okay? And that's important to know. Rules only apply to same bases. So let's go ahead and take a look here. These two A's, you can do the rule of what? They're right here, both these, you're supposed to add. You can add those two together. So part of your answer will be A to the 3 and 6 will be 9, okay? And then also B4, B2, these two will be allowed to add as well. So that's going to be B to the 6th, final answer. And you may say to yourself, okay, that doesn't look too tough. I just know I have to take this apart, do one problem here and one problem there, which is fine. I can do that. Now, where does it get a little more challenging is, what if I said A to the negative third times B to the fourth times A, let's say it's just A to the fifth times B to the negative 10. Now we have some negatives involved, okay? The negatives come into play the same way. So you have to only deal with the A's first. A here and A here. Okay, you're going to add those together. So when I say add, you can use a calculator if you need to, but negative 3 and 5 is going to be A2, right? Don't you take 3 away from 5? And that seems pretty easy. That's part of your answer, okay? Now, though, this part here, you're still going to add these two, but when I get a 4 and a negative 10, when you bring those together, if you had to put this in the calculator, you would get negative 6. So you could put B to the negative 6, which is fine, but it's not a final answer. It's not a final answer. If I saw this, I would maybe give it half credit because it's not completely done, because you're never allowed to have a negative in your answer. And if you want to come up here, I'll put this up top here too. Remember, anything to the negative 6 has to flip sides and become positive. All right, so that's what's going to happen here. You're going to have A squared on top over B to the 6th. All right, cool. Now, that's one part. Well, obviously, we're doing multiplication here, and we're adding. What do you think the other part's going to be? Division. So look at this. We're going to have A squared times B to the 3rd over A to the 5th times B. It could look like this, or it could not even have the points. Sometimes the dots, aren't even going to be there. They're just going to be next to each other. Okay. So looking at this problem, remember, you're going to have a battle. So basically, it's two separate problems. Again, you shouldn't have issues with that, and you shouldn't have issues with this. But it's basically put in one problem. Who wins the battle, the top or the bottom, with the A's? I look at it and I see there's 5 on the bottom. The bottom's going to win by how much? By 3, right? And then look at the B's. Who wins the battle with the B's? This is invisible 1 there. Don't forget about that invisible 1. Well, I see there's 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom. The top's going to win by 2. All right? Cool, cool, cool. And that's your final answer. Now, the same idea. We're going to do this, but there's going to be negatives involved. So, a squared times b to the negative 4 over a to the negative 5 times b. Remember, you are never allowed to have negatives in your problem. You got to switch them. So what do you do with this negative? You have to move it to the top and make it positive. Everybody see that? All right, take a look at that. Then here, this has to go and move down. B to the 4th. Makes it positive. So how many A's are on top? Okay, cool. And then how many B's are on the bottom? There's an invisible 1 here. All right, let's make sure we know how to do this, okay? So I want to go ahead and leave it here for a second, and we're going to do some practice ones. When we do practice problems, I'm going to show you, you will have some homework. Now your homework will be a quizzes I created yesterday. Let's make sure it's still there. Come on, Wi-Fi. All right, so when we look at our homework, these problems we shouldn't have any issues with. We know we have to add across, that's going to be s negative 3, because it's a 5, negative 5 and 2, so 1 over s to the 3, all right? So you're getting some free answers here. All right, let me hide this one. All right, now, when we keep looking at this, all right, you should be okay with this. Remember, the bottom would win by 4, so your answer would be 1 over x to the 4th, okay? But what about something like this? Remember, you're going to deal with the 5s. 5 to the 14th, 6 to the 12th, 5 to the 14th, 6 to the 12th, all right? Cool, cool, cool. What about this one? You do the A's first, then the B's, then the C's, and you put it all in one answer, all right? Look what my answer is going to be. A squared. That makes sense. These two come up here, the battle. The A won by 2. What about the B? The 4 and the 8 battle. Who wins the battle? The bottom by 4. And then the C. Who wins the battle here? The top. There's no negatives in this problem, so don't start flipping things. It's just a battle. When there's no negatives and it's division, there's just battles going on, okay? And what about this one? Remember, you're going to have to add across, all right? You're going to add across. So take your time. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 8 would be negative 2. Which one of these looks like it could be negative 2? Oh, yep. 1 over a squared. That makes sense, okay? So take your time with this stuff, all right? All right, I'm also going to give you an exit ticket. This is all going to be in your classroom. This exit ticket's great. You can really take your time on this. I want to see how well you get what's going on. Don't be guessing. Look at this. 4 to the negative 2. Okay, what would that be? 1 over 4 squared. Remember that, okay? I'm giving you some freebies here. All right, take a look at this. Remember, you have to add only the same bases. Same base, okay? Only deal with the 5s and the 3s. Remember, if there's negatives, you got to deal with that, okay? This one, you know what to do. Multiply those. Remember, you cannot have a negative as an answer. You're not allowed to have a negative. Remember, this has to flip up, okay? This is a great question. What's the mistake below? You got to figure out what the mistake is. That's a 14 there. All right, deal with the X battle and the Y battle. Great question. 5s only can deal with each other, and 8s. Great question. Battle here. A's B's, and C's. Remember, there's a B1 there, okay? And you'll be fine. Do the best you can on this as well. All right, you guys? So what you're doing is, I haven't posted it yet, but you're going to do the Edpuzzle, of course. You're going to do the exit ticket, this exit ticket, and the quizzes homework, okay? All right.